Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's show, the Frisco Report, Dallas Cowboys news, brought to you by Cowboys Blog and Cowboys Corner in effect. We got a couple of good topics tonight. Obviously, we got a lot of news. Special day today. Trade deadline just passed. So, the serious Cow mode, Cowboys Corner. Mike, what's going on, bro?
How you doing, Joe?
We're doing good, man. It's like a Victory Tuesday here. So, you know what I mean? That win. We'll talk briefly about that win here. We've already moved on, but man, hell of a win with Cooper Rush. You know, a lot of people didn't think that we had a chance, but boy showed out. Boy showed out, Mike.
Dude, I'm disappointed in Cowboy fans, man, because we get the win, celebrate it, right? But I was super shocked on the people underestimating the talent of this roster. Yes, we know Dak Prescott has been lighting it up. But when you say we can't win games without Dak Prescott, number one, that's Jason Garrett head coach mentality. And number two, you're underestimating and don't believe in the talent that we have on this 53. Mike McCarthy, he's said it 1,000 times. It takes 77 men to win a championship. Not one. It takes 77. When your star quarterback's out, guys, you're supposed to be able to win some games, all right? You don't win games under a backup quarterback in the 90s that got a Super Bowl ring. You win games by a head coach that won it, right? And that's Mike McCarthy. We got to change our mindset. We got to believe in the talent that we have on this team, guys, because I was fairly disappointed in Cowboy Nation of no one. No, I mean, 80% of the fan base didn't have us winning this game. I did. I got receipts.
Mike sure does, and he made it a point to let it be known, bros. So it was a good win, man. Defense stepped up. I think the defense was the key to this game. You know what I mean? Shout out to, Cooper Rush did his thing. A lot of clutch plays. Ezekiel Elliott there in the fourth quarter, hitting that seam, busting through, getting that first down. There was a lot of key moments in this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had to battle the refs early on in the game, but that kind of settled down towards the end. But it was a really good game, a gritty game. This is a game that Jason Garrett team would not have won. They probably would have got blown out. They probably would have just, they would have took the pedal off the metal and just glided through and make that a de facto second bye week. So I'm glad those days are over, man. And it's a new day here. You let Mike McCarthy install his program, and you're starting to see the rewards of this, Mike. Just Mike McCarthy year two, the progression. That's what you want to see, right?
Yeah, there's a saying: you reap what you sow, and they're doing great practices. They're putting together championship mentality. They're stacking success on success. Look at Micah Parsons, Joe. This is what Dan Quinn does, and Micah Parsons has to buy into it. He was there at 6 a.m. He beat Dan Quinn, right? He took the Patriots game, one of his worst performances, right? He took the bye week. And then he translated what he learned on that tape of the Patriots game, corrected it in the bye week, and it translated to the football field, okay? I love Sean Lee. Sean Lee did that. He just couldn't stay healthy. Jalen Smith didn't do that. Leighton Vander Esch, he can't tackle, right? Micah Parsons is a stud. Micah Parsons, the way he played yesterday, I tipped my hat off to Micah Parsons. He played quick, fast, he wasn't thinking, and he corrected a lot of the mistakes he did against those Patriots, Joe.
And that's a really huge point there that you make, Mike, because after that game, if you watched his post interview of that New England game, he knew that was probably one of his worst performances. I mean, it wasn't bad, too bad, but for his ceiling is that's not good enough. That is not my type of football. That wasn't Michael Parsons football. So, he put it on, man. He looked like he's on his way to a rookie year, with some accolades attached to it, Pro Bowl, possibly all pro. I mean, we talk about these types of linebackers coming out of Penn State, and Micah looks like another one of these guys, man. Like you said, Mike, just all over the place. One of his could have been arguably his best game. 11 tackles, rushing the quarterback, pressures, hurries. hitting people.
Those screens a year ago, 2 years ago, those screens they were trying to do, they probably would have got touchdowns on them if not massive gains. Like Micah Parsons stopped that.
Yeah, he sure did. Stopped it behind the line, tackle for loss. I mean, this guy was a wrecking ball out there. I mean, this is a guy he's an impact player. He's making that defense a whole lot better. You know what I mean? We didn't get an interception from Trayvon, but I know he was sniffing it. I think there was a couple here that he could have got close on jumping a route. But Micah, Trayvon, these guys are really stepping up. You know what I mean? The secondary, I mean, Donovan Wilson getting more playing time out there. You see him using physical play at the scrimmage. I thought he had a good game, and obviously Jaron Curse might. What about the offense? Let's talk about the offense a little bit more here. How did you think the offensive line held up in this game?
I thought they held up well. I mean, he got sacked a couple of times. You know, I wasn't shocked that Terrence Steele was still there. I got scolded on Twitter when Lyle Collins was supposed to be coming back, and I said in the offseason, it's going to be crazy to see what they do with Lyle Collins. And 95% of the people told me, you're dumb, you don't know what you're talking about. Lyle is getting his job back. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the case, Joe.
Yeah.
And so it's because they can't trade him this year. Next in the spring they can. They could explore those options if they want, right? But I thought the offensive line, they held up for the most part. You know, Rush is going to hold that ball a little longer than Dak Prescott because of the rhythm, right? Of that quarterback clock in your head. Dak's a lot faster because he has way more playing time. Cooper Rush has to get that clock developed, right? And towards the end of that game, that fourth quarter, he got that clock developed. But big shout-outs to Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson. We got to find a way to keep him. We can't let him sneak away. And he shouldn't cost that much, let's be honest. We can't let him sneak away, though. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's definitely a weapon for this offense. But big shout-out to Ezekiel Elliott, number one.
Yeah, for real, Ezekiel is having just a phenomenal season. You know, doing it on the ground, doing it, catching the ball, breaking tackles a lot more than he did last year. You know, muscling through and just really trucking people. You know, rarely do you ever see him for a loss. He's always going to move forward when he gets tackled. You rarely see him taking a loss. Pass pro was one of his staples. I think he had maybe one where he kind of whiffed on a block, but for the most part, you want him out there. Pollard, he's not as good. You know, he got burnt there on a missed block. Zeke is your guy, the enforcer there. But these guys, everybody's doing their thing. Like you said, Cedric Wilson, that's the guy you want to keep, right? I mean, you should be able to ideally get that guy on a very affordable deal, especially if you're going to move on from Gallup, which I fully expect them to do. I just don't think that they're going to – I think they're going to use those savings for – number 94, bro. Randy Gregory. Let's talk about him a little bit. Let's go back to defense. Let's talk about Randy Gregory, Mike. This guy, full season, off season, training camp. How do you feel where Randy Gregory's at right now with the Cowboys?
I'm just glad that he's able to, because Randy Gregory was he had like a mental problem where he couldn't handle success. And the success stressed him out. And it made him depressed, and it made him rely on medical marijuana and things of that sort that the NFL at the time was against, right? So Randy Gregory, he has a child now, right? It's not just him anymore, and he realizes that. And for him to handle this success, be who he is, and go out there and play at a high level and still stack success on top of success, Joe, it's unbelievable. A great story. Like you said, we got to save that bag because he's going to require some paper, all right? And you can let you can let DeMarcus Lawrence walk, and that still saves paper next year too, right? So the Cowboys, if they really want to keep Randy Gregory, they can make that happen.
Yeah, they can make it happen. You know what I mean? They will. I just listening to Coach McCarthy here. They are really super high on Randy Gregory right now. Jerry Jones as well in the interviews with 105.3 The Fan. They're enamored with how he has played, how he's performed. Now, Jerry Jones wants him to keep that level and keep going. You know, like don't get paid and then fall off. You know what I mean? Like this. I mean, if we're talking about a guy that can get at the quarterback first, I think Randy Gregory's that. DeMarcus Lawrence, as good as he is, he's a run stuffer first, and then he's a pass rusher second. You want it the other way around. And I think you get that with Randy Gregory. Pass rusher specialist first, and not too bad at the run. So it's a good thing to have. I think they're going to find a way to keep him here. You know what I mean? I think, the longer that you keep him unsigned for an extension, obviously that number will go up, but it's not going to go up to the point where they're going to, be at the mercy of, oh crap, well, this is too high now. You know what I mean? They'll figure something out. They will definitely figure something out. Shout out to A. Lavelle here with the super chat. What up, Joe, Mike, and your family's doing well? Yes, sir. This defense is amazing. Sucks to hear about Jabril Cox. Hope he comes back better. Yeah. Zeke Cooper and Cedric Wilson with the plays of the game. Let's go Cowboys, baby. Yes, lots of good talking points here. Hey, Lavelle, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you very much, Mike. You want to hit up on that there? Jabril Cox. Yeah, that's a big loss there, Mike. What's your thoughts on losing Jabril for the year?
Yeah, big shout out to A. Lavelle, always coming in with super chats, always showing love and support right here for the Frisco Report. Do appreciate that, A. Lavelle. But Jabril Cox, man, special teams player. He is going to be missed on special teams, right? And then coming in for that linebacker depth, he's going to be missed in that linebacker rotation too. Sucks, man. Jabril the steal. But the good news is we still got him for 3 more years. Even though his rookie year was cut short, the guy, the sky's the limit, and I just can't wait to have him and Micah Parsons on the field at the same time. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be nasty.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, Jabril the Steel Cox. I mean, there was a moment there where you caught Mike McCarthy talking about it, and you could tell that it hurt him to see that player go out the way he did. He was getting more plays. They were bringing him along. You know what I mean? I think you're looking at the future there, in waiting in the wings. So as sucky as it is, the injury is right now where it's still kind of early in the season. It'll give you enough time to rehab, and hopefully you're back by training camp. I think that'll be the discussion of the offseason as far as what the timeline will be for Jabril, getting back on, getting strength, getting the motion back and this sort of thing. So it's definitely a heavy blow, but I think the Cowboys aren't going to be done at the linebacker position. Don't be surprised if they add another linebacker in this draft because, we have LVE on a 1-year deal.
Keanu O'Neal, 1-year deal.
This is basically a repeat of last year. You got a lot of 1-year deal guys, and some of these guys you may not keep. So you definitely will keep an eye on that. This is a good linebacker class that's coming out this year too. You don't necessarily have to get one in the first, but if you do at the bottom of the first, number 32 or whatever, you're going to be able to add more ammo to the armory and get after people, bro. Yeah, get after people. Zeke Cooper and Cedric Wilson. Yeah, those guys played really well. A. Lavelle. Appreciate that. Go Cowboys all the way, bros. More on the game, or actually, let's transition to the next topic here, Mike. And that's going to be, the future here with Lyle Collins. All right. So Tyron Smith, I don't even know how to describe this, but it's every year, right? It's something with Lyle. It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we all pegged it, during the offseason. I think we were all prepared for it. But you look at Ty and Secchi in that game, he could not handle Everson Griffin for anything. You know what I mean? And do you want to see him out there when you have somebody available like a Lyle Collins that can go in there? What do you think they do there at left tackle?
So Lyle Collins is versatile at left guard, and he can play right. Tyron Smith, he learned right tackle first, and then they moved him over to left tackle, right? Do I think Lyle Collins is talented enough to play that left tackle position? Absolutely. I'll be willing to look and see where they play Lael, because if Ty Nsekhe's bad against this Denver pass rush without Von Miller, then they have to make a change, right? And the only person I can think of is Lyle Collins going into that left tackle position. But he has to have practice reps because everything is opposite from that right tackle to that left tackle spot. Your hand placement, your movement, your kicks, everything's complete opposite. And he has to adapt to that. And, even left guard is different from left tackle. It's just there's a lot of different movements and stuff. So it's going to be curious to see how they do that. But Ty Sucky, the dude's almost 40 years old, and good gravy, he's ass, dude. Against Everson Griffin, out of all people.
Yeah. I just think that he didn't have a good game. I think he kind of settled in a little bit at the end of the game, but this is when your players are kind of gassing out already. So it's not a good gauge. So for me, I think they're looking at how in shape is Lael. That's kind of the vibe I got from Jerry Jones on his interview with 105.3 The Fan, that he described that Lael wasn't fully 100% in shape for training camp, or that's kind of how the vibe I got from him. So he actually said that he didn't have the best camp or whatever, which was kind of interesting to me.
Joe, you would know this. Did Lyle Collins ever play left tackle in college?
Yeah, so Lyle Collins, he had like 35 starts at left tackle and I think 15 at guard. So that's why when they ask him how does he feel about playing on the left side, he says playing the left side is natural to him. So to project him to go in here and play left tackle, I think it's like muscle memory. Get a couple of snaps in practice is what they're going to have to do to get that back going. But he definitely has a lot of snaps there at a high level, Louisiana State, LSU. So I think that would be my option, bro, because I don't want to see Inseki out there again, man. And who knows, bro? Could this be the future at left tackle? Could Tyron Smith get Terrence Steele via Lyle Collins? So, hey, it is what it is. If you're not out there, you're not helping the team. And so, what if Lyle Collins gets the start there, does good, and maybe like 2 or 3 weeks down the road, Tyron Smith is back. Does he get his job back, or does he get the same treatment that Lael got when he came back? What do you think happens there, Mike?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. So I always brag about this year. Only this year I've been bragging about how Zeke grew up. Right. You talk about last year, Lyle Collins coming in, supposed to make a great impression on his new head coach, Mike McCarthy. Came in overweight, had some injuries, had some surgeries. Right. Then you come in this year, clean slate. You get suspended for bribing a drug test collector. Right. So I don't know if Mike McCarthy thinks Lyle Collins is mature enough to handle a starting role consistently. Because Mike McCarthy, he addressed these guys as men. He talks to them as men. He don't clap and throw them around like Jason Garrett. I mean, he treats them like grown men. And to be a grown man, you got to act like one. I don't think Lyle Collins and Mike McCarthy's view acts like one, Joe.
Yeah.
And so I think in that situation, to answer your question, I think Tyron Smith gets his job back because I don't think Mike McCarthy views him as a ready-to-go player.
This is going to be something to really follow the rest of the season. I think it's going to be very interesting here. Danny Savage has a great comment, and this is something that Jerry actually mentioned on 105.3 The Fan, is not necessarily an injury, but some kind of bone spur in the ankle. So typically when you have a bone spur, that kind of requires some kind of cleanup. You know what I mean? Like Danny's saying, it doesn't vanish. So it's pain management. It's what it's going to come down to. And obviously it wasn't enough, and it was in game. And I don't know if they gave him a shot there to see if he could numb it up. But then if you have a numb ankle, I don't know if that would really work. So he could be out for a bit here. He really could. So I wouldn't count on Tyron being back. But you make a good point about, does Mike McCarthy trust him? You know what I mean? And somebody made a comment that Lyle's unreliable. So I think that he's proven that he is unreliable, right? I mean, going back to last season, all the controversy this year, it is unreliable crap, bro. Like it really is. You can't say, oh no, whatever, you guys, whatever. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It just is, man. I mean, if you played the game, you got to rely on your teammates. You got to rely on your teammates. But for me, I hope that he's turned the corner and maybe he hangs on to that job there. And one of these guys will be a badass swing tackle for you. So
Josh Ball.
Josh Ball, yeah, Josh Ball. The thing on him looks like he's heading towards a red shirt year, still on IR, and there's just no news on this guy. And I just have a feeling that they're gonna just let him heal up. He's gonna get the Connor McGovern treatment. So when you think about Josh Ball, just think about Connor McGovern, red shirt. I think that's where you're at with him. So I don't have him in the equation because that's where they're at with Josh Ball. He's still on IR with nothing clear cut, nothing clear cut. Yeah, he's on IR indeed. He's on IR. See what else we got here in the comments, guys. We'll take a look here and see what else we got here. Soup Trap, good to see you in the chat box, guys. Soup Trap, McGovern is too good to be riding the bench. Yeah, they've got a lot of good players that are kind of riding the pine right now, right? You got McGovern and Lael. They came up with this. How do we get these guys involved? They came up with this Hulk formation, which is kind of gimmicky, but I mean it is pretty intimidating, and it did work for them. They were able to move a lot of beef out of the way with these behemoths. So these guys, they're going to come along. McGovern, I really do think that McGovern has a starting spot next season. You know what I mean?
Where at? You think that left guard's why he takes over Connor Williams?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Connor Williams there. But I think that center position is something to watch as well. It's going to be a very interesting conversation as far as the offensive line, Mike, because you have a lot of versatility here. You still have Lyle Collins under contract for 2 more years at a pretty reasonable pay rate. So it's just the reliability part of him. You know what I mean? So, but could he be in the mix at guard? And then you move McGovern to center. So what is the future of Tyron Smith? Could the Cowboys say, yes, $10 million a season is not that much, but we cannot rely on you anymore. We just need to go ahead and move on here. Could that happen? That could happen too. You know what I mean? We're seeing a different front office with Mike McCarthy at the helm. You're seeing a little bit different. This isn't Garrett with the front office. I think McCarthy is really having a lot more influence on the roster building than some fans are giving him credit for. You know what I mean? I compare this, Mike, to kind of the kind of power or influence that Parcells had. I think he kind of has that level of influence on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
No,
100%. I know during Mike McCarthy's press conference, they asked him how much power Mike McCarthy had in picking his coaching staff and stuff, and Jerry Jones said he was able to pick it, and he jokingly like, no, really. And Jerry Jones like, no, seriously, he picks his own coaching staff, etc. So, and Jason Garrett Brian Broaddus always talked about how big of a stick Jason Garrett carried in that room, and he had no credentials. Mike McCarthy has credentials, so get that stick Jason Garrett carried in there and multiply that, because remember, they trained Jason Garrett, they coached him up, they coached him how to coach, right?
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy already has those credits, right? So that stick is even bigger for Mike McCarthy than what Jason Garrett had.
Now you hit it right on the head. This is not on the job training, by any means. So another roster move, we'll talk a little bit about some of the roster moves. Skeptical fan Bradley and I could come back to Dallas Cowboys practice squad. Well, the thing about this is the Cowboys put a no recall on that release. The no recall means they have no interest in bringing him back to the practice squad. So Bradley and I, he is gone. He is not coming back. They're not bringing him back. So that's the clarification on Bradley and I. They did a release waive, no recall. Okay, so that means they don't want him back. So they're going to fill that with another position. I would think another linebacker, somebody like that. Mike, let's touch a little bit on this Bradley and I release. What do you think it means for who they currently have? They didn't make any trades. There was rumors of Von Miller and maybe some other mid-tier type of guys. But what does this say to you that they're able to release Bradley and I, and they're going to roll with their guys? What do you think this means?
Not only did they cut Bradley and I, right? They didn't make any trades either. So we got guys coming back. Lael Gallimore, DeMarcus Lawrence. There's guys coming back to fill that void, right? And then you still got Urban coming back. There's some more defensive line pieces coming back. So I'm not shocked that they cut him. I remember during this offseason, people were screaming for Anai. And I'm like, what has Anai showed us? He didn't play last year, right?
Yeah.
He barely played this year. When he was there, I mean, he got some pressures. But this team's so talented, everybody's getting pressures right now, but except Jalen Smith. But Bradley and I didn't see what all the fuss was about. And I've said that here on the Frisco Report. I don't know what the fuss is for Bradley and I. He still has to prove it. He still has a lot to prove. He's cut now. No recall. So not shocked, but I like the pieces coming back. Lael Gallimore, DeMarcus Lawrence, things of that sort.
Yeah, and that's what I think. I think that's what they like. They like that DeMarcus Lawrence is on the way back. The update on him was favorable. So everything's coming along good with DeMarcus Lawrence. And I think it also bodes well for younger players like Azur Kamara. You know what I mean? He's got a couple snaps here and there. They like him on special teams. And, so they like what they have over Bradley and I, obviously. You know what I mean? So could there be another defensive end added in the mix? There could be, but I would look more towards the draft. You know what I mean? I think you do need to add another body in there because it's not like Gregory or Lawrence are young. You know what I mean? So I think it would bode well for the Cowboys to add another defensive end in the mix, somebody that you can pass that crown to. You know what I mean? I think Randy Gregory has a spot on this team a lot longer than D-Law does. You know what I mean? So go ahead and add another D end in this draft, and there's some good ones coming out. So that's what it is there, bros. On that there, yeah, Gallup, he's on course here to, it was possible that he was going to show up in that Minnesota game, but it's more realistic that you might actually see him in this Denver game now. Okay, so we were talking about 10 snaps last time. I think that remains the same for this Denver game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it is here in Dallas. This is a home game for the Cowboys, I believe, right, Mike?
Yeah, it is. And the reason why you can get Bradley and I, too, because Chauncey Golston is playing really good.
Yes, dude, that is on freaking point. Mike Golston is looking crazy good. Hey, he's looking good, man. I mean, he plays the run well. He gives you a little bit of pressure as well. That motor is crazy.
It kind of reminds me, and Joe, you've said credit to you, bro. It reminds me of a young Tyrone Crawford.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. I mean, the dude has a young Tyrone Crawford body and a little bit more talent. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When we drafted him, that was the comp that we gave him. Like this is a guy that can give you outside, but can flex on the inside and give you some good snaps. And he's done really well coming off of. I mean, he was like on PUP or IR for the longest time, but this kid is looking better each game. I just can't wait to see how he looks at the end of the year. You know what I mean? And then once he gets that full NFL body in the offseason program, watch out, man. Watch out.
100%.
So I'm pumped about that, Mike. I'm pumped about that. But we got Denver coming up here. Just we'll touch briefly on this before we cut out. But Mike, what do you expect out of this? Do you think this is a game that Dak Prescott plays, or do they get kind of bold here and say we can win again with Cooper Rush?
You know what? I don't know. That's a really good question. That's a real good question because what helped Cooper Rush was the defense finally got it together. I mean, the Vikings' first drive, I mean, they went right down and freaking scored on us like that. But a lot of offensive coordinators have the opening game script, and they run that in practice 1,000 times, right? And so they figured out what they were doing, and they were able to, not get him in the end zone no more. But I need them to step up, right? I need more wide receivers to step up except Cedric Wilson, right? I mean, CeeDee Lamb dropped a quick slant pass last week. Amari Cooper came up clutch. Just when you think Amari Cooper's asleep, he proves to you that he's still elite, right? So in the running game. We need Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard kind of got stuffed there a little bit. Tony Pollard got to step up that thing a little bit. And I think, because Cooper Rush now has tape, they kind of shrinked everything, minimized everything for Cooper Rush. That's on tape, right? So if Dak can play, I'm all for it, because things are on tape. There's professional defensive coordinators, Joe, and the simplified offense that Cooper Rush ran against the Vikings, that's on tape now. So I don't know if he'll have that much. I don't know if he'll have 3.25 yards and 2 touchdowns. It might be 200 yards and 1 touchdown, right? So we need everybody to step up and play, because that simplified offense is on tape.
Yeah, bro. I'm looking forward to this game. I want Dak to be out there, and it really does sound like he's on course to start. I don't think unless he suffers a setback, which I think we're going to find out by tomorrow. I think tomorrow they're going to start, giving some more pressure here with that calf to see how he responds to a full practice. You know what I mean? So he's on course for a full practice. Let's see how he comes out of it. Hopefully he doesn't come out sore or whatever, because that's what happened last week. They did it. He was sore. Game time this week. I know Dak wants to be out there. I think Dak's gonna be like, okay, that's enough. I'm back in. Get the hell out of the way. So, but these guys have to protect the player as well. So I think, but I think personally he'll be ready. I think it's gonna be another good game for the Cowboys. It'll be a home game.
Yeah.
Denver, they're okay. I think their strength is probably their defense, even without Von Miller. I think that's why they let him go. You know what I mean? I think that defense does enough. That Vic Fangio defense is still, they can still apply pressure from all angles. So it'll be a good test for the offensive line. I'm just interested to see who we line up. You know what I mean? Will it be Inseki? Will it be Lael? Do they flip? Do they go Terrence at left, Lyle back at right? So
don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think that would be suited well for Terrence. I think Terrence is,
because he'll get his name Doo-Doo Pants still right back, and he goes, so keep him at the right.
That's exactly what I think too, man. I think you keep still at right, and don't mess with the mojo. Just keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling. But Mike, great show tonight. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody in the chat box that showed up tonight. A great show. Shout out to all you guys. Make sure you guys hit pound that like button on your way out, or if you catch us on the replay. But Mike, where can everybody find you if they haven't already?
Yeah, absolutely. We got 80 viewers and 44 likes, guys. 6 more likes. Get us to 50 likes right here when I do my outro. _Cowboys Corner right here on YouTube, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Check out a couple of videos. And smash the like button on my videos too, you people. But I'm way more active. _Cowboys Corner on Twitter, guys. So follow me on Twitter. You might see some cryptocurrency stuff on there, but there's a lot of Cowboy stuff on there too. You just got to scrub through the crypto stuff, but it's there. I promise. Not a financial advisor. Just don't read everything I say. It's because I have it, don't mean you need it. All right. But that's all I got, Joe.
I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody in the chat box, man. If we didn't get to your question, we do see them out there. We see a lot of the usual guys out here: Montoya, Soup Trap, Marvel and Groot, Ryan Doyle.
The Reaper.
There. Yeah, the Reaper. Jared O. I mean, all the guys. We love seeing you guys. Appreciate all you guys, man. But I'll see you in the next video. That's all we have tonight, guys. Peace out.
How about them Cowboys?
On one side, but that guy on the other.